Hey everyone, welcome back to the Crypto Deep Dive. I'm Laurie, and as always, I'm joined by Nick, our go-to brain when it comes to breaking down the crypto market's most interesting movements. Nick, how are we feeling today?
Doing great, Laurie. Excited for today's topic. It's one that's been heating up in the community. Our usual suspect, XRP, specifically the catalyst that could push it well beyond the $27 mark.
Shall we take a quick look at the markets first?
Sure, go.
At the time of recording, on 26 May 2025, there's a lot of green on the screen. We have Bitcoin on $109,798, Ethereum is sitting at about $2,567, and XRP is at 2.3411. We've got XLM at a slither under 28.9 cents, Sol is at just under $178, and ADA is up at just over 77 cents. Right. I've been seeing headlines about XRP potentially skyrocketing. Some say $27. Others are throwing out numbers like $120 or even higher. Seems wild, but I know there's more to it than hype. So Nick, let's start at the top. What's the first major catalyst people are talking about?
The big one, global financial system integration. This is the scenario where XRP becomes a primary bridge currency between central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, and for international settlements.
So like XRP becoming the digital glue between countries' digital dollars, euros, yen, and so on?
Exactly. Picture a world where central banks don't just digitize their currencies, they need to move them across borders instantly and cost effectively. That's where XRP's design shines. It was built for fast, cheap cross-border transfers. If institutions adopt XRP at scale to facilitate those kinds of transactions, we're talking about trillions in movement.
And this isn't just a fantasy scenario, right? Aren't there already some pilot programs and partnerships in the works?
There are. Ripple, the company closely associated with XRP, has partnered with dozens of financial institutions globally. And while we haven't seen a formal announcement of XRP being adopted as the global bridge currency just yet, the infrastructure is quietly building. Regulatory clarity could be the tipping point. And what is very intriguing is repeated reference of Ripple, XRP, but also XLM for that matter, in documents from the Bank of International Settlements.
What kind of price impact are we talking about here?
Well, it's speculative, but analysts have projected that if XRP became central to global CBDC infrastructure, the price could exceed $120 per token in future market cycles. That would align with a market cap in the multi-trillions.
Whoa, that's a long way from where it is today. Okay, let's shift gears. The second catalyst I've seen thrown around is this idea of an institutional valuation reset. Can you unpack that?
Sure, this theory suggests that large financial institutions may already have an internal valuation of XRP that's significantly higher than what the retail market sees today. Think of it like this. They've done the math. They know what the asset is potentially worth in their future systems, and they're just waiting for the regulatory green light.
So it's almost like the market is blind to XRP's real potential, and the institutions are just waiting to flip the switch?
Exactly. If such an internal reset were acknowledged publicly, say as part of an ETF launch or a stablecoin integration, XRP could jump dramatically. Some believe we'd see it leap past $27 instantly and head into the hundreds of dollars if capital starts flowing in from those larger players.
How realistic is this? It sounds a little conspiratorial.
Fair point. It's certainly speculative. But we've seen this pattern before: assets being suppressed or undervalued until regulatory clarity or institutional demand triggers a sudden repricing. It's not that far-fetched when you think about the scale of capital involved.
All right, so the third major catalyst you mentioned was a technological or ecosystem breakthrough. What are we talking about here?
This is the wild card. If Ripple or the XRP Ledger, often called XRPL, achieves a major innovation, like solving interoperability with other blockchains or becoming the go-to platform for tokenizing real-world assets like real estate, commodities, or even carbon credits, that could be huge.
So kind of like what Ethereum did with DeFi, but Ripple doing it for tokenization and global finance?
Exactly. XRPL already has solid functionality and is known for its speed and low fees. But if it breaks through in a way that puts it at the center of tokenized real-world assets, especially in a regulatory compliant manner, it could trigger a supply shock and price boom.
And how big could the impact be?
Some technical analysts believe XRP could reach $100 plus in what they call a fifth wave rally. It would require a perfect storm: tech innovation, ecosystem growth, and a favorable macro environment.
Okay, let's take a breath and zoom out. What's the realistic timeline here? Are we talking about XRP hitting $27 this year, or are those higher targets still a ways off?
Good question. Short term, meaning the next 1 to 3 months. Many analysts believe $27 is attainable, especially if there's positive momentum from ETF approvals, legal clarity in the US, or technical breakouts.
So by summer 2025?
That's the most common target range being floated right now. There's growing confidence that XRP could rally to $27 by July or August if everything lines up: regulatory wins, bullish sentiment, and maybe some whale accumulation.
And the long term?
That's where the truly transformational catalysts come into play. Things like financial system integration or a valuation reset would likely play out over the next 1 to 5 years. That's where the projections of over $120 come in. If XRP becomes foundational to how money moves globally.
Okay, Nick, let me try to recap all this for our listeners. Catalyst 1, global financial integration, XRP becomes a bridge currency for CBDCs and international payments. Timing? Next 1 to 5 years. Price target? $120 plus. Catalyst 2, institutional valuation reset. Big banks reveal a much higher internal value for XRP. Again, 1 to 5 years. Price target? $120 plus. Catalyst 3, technological leap. XRP or XRPL becomes the go-to for real-world asset tokenization or global DeFi. Timing is also 1 to 5 years. Target? Again, $120 plus. And in the short term, analysts are calling $27 by summer 2025, if the right conditions fall into place.
That's a perfect summary. And of course, while all of this is speculative, and we don't try and call for melting faces like other channels, it's rooted in real developments, real partnerships, and real market behavior. XRP has already proven itself as a fast, efficient asset. It's just a matter of how big the adoption wave will be.
So Nick, bottom line, how should the average investor approach XRP right now?
Cautiously optimistic, XRP isn't a meme coin, it's a real utility token with significant institutional potential, but it's also still navigating regulatory challenges and needs those big catalysts to materialize. If you believe in its long-term value, holding some exposure makes sense, but always manage your risk.
Well said. As always, this is not financial advice, just our take on what's happening in the space. But wow, what a fascinating episode.
Definitely. And who knows, by episode 30, we might be talking about XRP breaking that $27 ceiling.
Let's hope so. That wraps up episode 16 of the Crypto Deep Dive. If you liked this episode, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a review, and share it with your crypto-curious friends. We'll be back next time with more insights from the front lines of Web3.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe out there.